lots of sex is really important in a
I
relationship.
agree. Like, I feel like sex is getting better as I get older.
Oh, it's never been this good. And we're approaching 70.
Mark Sisson has quite obviously cracked the code to aging like a fine wine. He's 70 years old, and yet looks like a man 20 years his junior. What's even more amazing is that he does it without a grueling workout routine, diet, or the use of steroids or growth hormones. So what's his secret? He claims it's down to his simple diet and micro workouts that anyone can do. So continue listening to find out what they are, as they may just save your life. But before that, let me tell who Mark is. Mark Sisson, born July the 20th, 1953, is an American fitness author and food blogger. He also took part in long-distance running and triathlons as a younger man. Sisson was born in Maine and is the oldest of 4 siblings. He attended Williams College, where he was a pre-med candidate and earned a biology degree. Sisson is married to his wife, Carrie. They have 2 children. Sisson is a follower of the paleo diet and markets his own version of it, called the Primal Blueprint Diet. As part of this initiative, he started a food blog, Mark's Daily Apple, in 2006, and has also written a number of diet and exercise books. He is an expert at all things health, aging, and longevity. Where he once worked out 20 to 30 hours per week, he now performs just 4 brief but intense sessions a week, and does a lot of play in the form of hiking, snowboarding, and occasionally, ultimate frisbee with his 17-year-old son and friends. In total, he says it's about 2 hours weekly. I'm almost embarrassed with how little I train. The result, even now at 70, he's still in great shape. Just 12 years ago, at 58, he was saying that his body fat is close to the same as when he was a competitive endurance athlete. Furthermore, he said, "I'm pretty sure that I can sprint faster now than back in those days." So as you can see, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he's got the handsome looks to back it up. Mark's 5 secrets are very simple, and after listening to hours of Mark speaking on various podcasts, news shows, and videos, I've broken down his principles into easy steps that you can follow. First, you'll hear about his interesting exercise regimen, centered around his unique micro-workouts. Then you'll discover the exact foods that give Mark revitalizing energy throughout his day. And finally, his advice on keeping long-term healthy relationships and hydration. So let's get into it. Mark swears by his micro-workouts, and he always aims to do, in his words, the minimum dose of exercise. He doesn't believe in sweating it out for hours in the gym each week. In his opinion, walking takes the top spot. In the morning, he'll get up and aim to walk 1 to 5 mi, 1 to 3 times a week. He says that walking is the greatest thing we can do as humans in terms of activity. 2 times a week, he goes to the gym and lifts heavy weights. He focuses on the large muscle groups of his upper body. He recommends doing bench press, shoulder press, and lat pull-downs, or pull-ups. And that by doing a few sets of these and focusing on lifting heavy, you can really slow down the feeling of old age creeping up on you. He also says that it's never too late to start, and just to start with lighter weight. Or if you're really starting from zero, then to do his micro workouts. 1 in 10 days he does a leg day, and says that you should do deadlifts. Deadlifts build your bone density and also work the large muscle groups in your body. So overall, he does 3 workouts a week where he's actually in the gym, and a walk 1 to 3 times a week. During his day, when he has a moment, he does a micro workout. He says that these micro workouts spread the work over a 10 RR day, saying, "I think it has the same net effect on muscle growth, strength, and power, and you're recovering more fully in between." An interesting observation is that this is exactly what children do throughout the day. They have short bursts of energy followed by rest. And often as children, we are the most natural, pure form of life there is. So there's a lot of wisdom in this, I think. Here are some ideas from Mark as to what you can for micro workouts throughout your day. Starting at number 1, we have a 2 to 3 minute plank. The plank covers pretty much everything in the body. Working abs, glutes, hamstrings, shoulders, and serratus MSLCs. Other options are leaning on your kitchen counter and doing 20-30 press-ups. Aim for 4 to 5 sets a day of these. If you have a pull-up bar or a low-hanging branch, then a couple of pull-ups do wonders for releasing your back muscles. Then there's 10-30 air squats and a 30s wall sit. There's hundreds of options that you can choose from. Mark says he aims to try and move as frequently as possible during the day. He'll pace around on his phone and walk as much as possible. The last 2 things he swears by are stretching 1-3 times a week, saying, "As you get older, the body just wants to contract." The other times he's quote, unquote, working out He's trying to play and enjoy them. He rides a fat, tired bike on the sands in his hometown of Miami, loves stand-up paddleboarding, and even gives the young guys a run for their money playing ultimate frisbee, saying, "I'm the oldest guy on the field by far most times, and I can keep up with anybody." Now I know what you're probably thinking, that this is a lot of work and that you have no time, and I agree with you. Mark has financial freedom that not everyone has, so he can afford to spend this time. But his diet is luckily much simpler, and nearly everyone can follow it. So let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Mark Sisson, and I'm going to tell you what I eat in a day.
Here's what Mark eats for breakfast: a large cup of coffee, thick and rich. By the amount of coffee grounds this guy pours into his cafetiere in the morning, you'd think he might have a heart attack. But that's how he likes it, and he's doing fine. He adds some raw cream to his coffee and a monk fruit sweetener. Part of his morning routine is to also do a crossword puzzle. Mark doesn't eat any food in the morning. He doesn't have set meal times and just does what feels right, which for him is not eating in the morning. This has come from training his metabolic system, though. He says that hunger is the biggest issue starting out if you're used to eating 3 times a day. He says it's important to identify true hunger versus cravings, which are basically comfort behaviors. We crave sweet food or carbs because of the release of dopamine that it brings more than the actual physical need for food. If we can train ourselves to get over cravings, eating becomes much less compulsive. He follows the 16-8 intermittent fasting schedule. This is where you don't eat for 16 hours out of the 24-hour day and eat all your food in an 8-hour window. So when does he get round to eating? His first meal is his lunch, between 12:30 and 1:30. He keeps his lunches very simple, having a form of protein and some form of vegetable. An example of his was salmon and a green salad, but ground beef, pork, chicken, or lamb can also substitute. He eats just enough to be satisfied, and says that overeating leads to inflammation in the body and so one should avoid it. He doesn't snack in the period between lunch and dinner. For dinner, he'll again have a serving of protein, either ribeye steak, beef, pork, or lamb with some asparagus and avocado, basically protein with vegetables. He'll also have a glass of wine or two with his evening meal, choosing a dry farm wine with no sugar, low tannins, and a low alcohol content. He reckons he averages around 1,500 calories a day. He doesn't eat a lot of carbs and gets his carbs in the form of leafy greens and vegetables. But he consumes a significant amount of protein and healthy fats, such as avocados and nuts. He doesn't seek out eating fats, but he's not scared of eating it either. He says that a big mistake of the ketogenic diet was that people thought they could eat loads of fat as long as they didn't eat carbs. He says that a Mediterranean diet, minus the starches, is what he does. And that fat is surprisingly prevalent throughout a normal diet. He supplements 30-40 grams of collagen daily, and is a big fan of collagen. He says that it's a 4th macronutrient that should be obligatory. You can get collagen from eating skin, bone broth, chicken stock, or gelatin. You can also supplement it, and if you'd like to know what the best quality collagen supplements are, then check the description. Mark's views on hydration are that the human thirst mechanism is very accurate. Our ancestors weren't forcibly consuming 2 liters of water over a period of time. They were just drinking from rivers when they felt thirsty. So that's what he does. He drinks when he's thirsty and doesn't force himself to drink when he's not. His overriding wisdom on eating is that you should try to cultivate metabolic flexibility. This is basically training your body to be able to burn protein, fat, and carbs. By following his diet and the tips above, you can do just that. To finish off, Mark has some great advice on keeping great relationships alive into old age. Mark and his wife have been together for 35 years. Carrie took a spiritual psychology degree when she was younger, so knows a lot about the brain and how humans form relationships. She says how every day she is striving to create the best relationship with Mark. She says that love is a verb. It's doing things for your partner. Whether that's smiling at them in the morning, complimenting them, or making an effort to be the best partner ever. She says that if you think you'll just be in love without actively loving someone, then it's futile. She and Mark also learned and internalized early on that every feeling is due to our thoughts, so they both avoid going down thinking rabbit holes and try to quiet their minds by practicing meditation and mindfulness daily. Carrie and Mark say that sex is important. Carrie says the sex has never been this good, and I'm approaching 70 years, which is pretty amazing. They recommend a book called The Relationship Handbook that has really helped them stay happy and in love for so long. As you can see, Mark and Carrie are truly aging gracefully, and are both a testament to the saying that age is just a number. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you've got some notes from Mark on how you can live healthier into your older years and age gracefully, like a fine wine. Subscribe so you don't miss the next inspiring individual.